Hey YouTube, this is James Davis again. So, it's 2016, it's election year, we got a few months left, and we're down to 3 candidates. On the right, we got Donald Trump, on the left, we got Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. I'm going to start out with the right, and Donald Trump is a very, very rich man, and a lot of people will hate him for that. That being said, they think he's an asshole. They've watched him, and they've watched a little bit of him, and think that he's a racist. They think that he's sexist. They think he's chauvinistic, which I guess the verdict's still out on that one. They think a lot of him. But to that first point, I've watched many of his debates. I've watched the full-length debates, not the 2-minute clips that you see on YouTube or on your Roku box, nor what the media outlets tell you. Despite what you think, a lot of people tend to believe that Fox is more of a right-wing conservative channel, whereas CNN is very left. But if you haven't realized, they're all lying to you. So you need to go watch the stuff for yourself and digest the information before you make a decision. Simply going off what someone else is telling you is ignorant. So that said, I've watched many of his videos. I've watched many of the debates there, and I've watched the full-length debates that go into these offensive things that he said. With that said, I see nothing. I really don't. He's a rude asshole. I'll give him that. But I'm a rude asshole. So if you don't like that, fuck you. I don't care. I don't care about your fucking feelings. I never have. I never will. If you don't like me, mute me on YouTube. Don't talk to me. I don't really care. I mean, he's talked specifically about Rosie O'Donnell. He's talked specifically about a special group of Latinos crossing the border. That specialized group is rapists and thugs and murderers. If you don't hate rapists, thugs, and murderers, you are part of the problem. So if you disagree with that, fuck you. That's how I feel. So to go further in depth with this, we can look at some of Trump's policies. He wants to build some giant wall. While I don't personally feel that he will achieve this, I don't believe it's a bad idea. You have to have immigration control. You really do. Being born and raised in Houston, I've seen thousands of illegal immigrants, and I can tell you they're not all good. I will voice it that I think Hispanics are one of the most resilient race out there. I think the vast majority of them are hard workers. I think the vast majority of them deserve an equal and fair shake. But an equal and fair shake also means you have to come into this country the same way as anyone else. The left would have you believe that you don't need to get a permit to come into America because we're all immigrants anyways. Well, if you go to Canada, you got to immigrate into Canada. You can't just go live there freely. You can't go to the UK freely. There's processes to get through there. Mexico, you can't just walk into Mexico. You have to go in there, and there's a process to get in there. You can't become a Mexican citizen just by screaming at the rooftops. There's a process, and it has to be obeyed. To the fact that Trump's a racist, I've not heard this. He said nothing to the point of saying any slurs. I've not heard it. He's not grouped one group of people in there. So I could also denounce the whole bigotry claim. I don't agree with it. I don't. If you have proof, please provide it. If it's just an assumption or a conjecture or someone else saying it, then it doesn't matter. If you're not intelligent enough to do your own research, then I don't know. Maybe you ought not to vote because you are part of the problem. If you sit there and you can't watch a debate and just watch it, get rid of all the shenanigans and see what their actual policies are all about, then why the fuck are you voting? So That's Trump. Again, on the left, we have Hillary. And listen, don't vote for Hillary. Do not vote for Hillary. You know, the verdict is out on Trump. You can make up your mind. You can say he's a bad person, but Hillary is a bad person. She is a terrible person. Yeah, she's a terrible person. I would say her and Satan are right aligned. I mean, and that's just from what I've seen from her. In the military ranks, we know Hillary as being a person that hates the military. There's been horror stories of how she treats the military in the White House and in the Pentagon. So the military has no love for this woman. Absolutely not. But let's look at her track record. I mean, Hillary had classified, sensitive, and top secret information sent to her personal email, through her personal web server. You can look it up on the internet. You can see that this is a fact. When asked about it, she initially denied. When it was proven, she denied that they were classified but acknowledged the server. When proven they were classified, she tried to say something to the effect of, well, it's kind of perspective. I didn't know they were classified. But how can you know they're classified when they're not coming from a DoD server to a DoD server? It kind of strips the classification away, doesn't it? So, but, I mean, let's think about it. Let's think about what makes something classified. A, if anyone says it's classified, it's got to be classified, as long as the person has the authority to say that. But B, if you're talking about operatives or sensitive matters that deal with the life of an American, that could be considered classified information. Absolutely. If we're talking about a threat level, specific events that lead to the elevation of a threat level, that could be classified information. And that needs to be looked upon. Just because it doesn't say in bright, big red letters at the top, classified, or secret, or top secret, you need to use your common fucking sense and try to figure that out. Because you're the head of a department, and you didn't get the job because of your looks. I hope, right? Did you make a drug deal? I mean, supposedly you said you were qualified for this position. And yet, you can't justify having a fucking personal email and a personal email server. Instead, you skate around the issue. The FBI has been investigating her for some time, and yet the verdict's still out. And I believe this to be all politics. I'm pretty sure that the FBI will not find anything for the simple fact that someone is telling them they will not find anything. So, but maybe you don't believe me. Maybe you think that I'm just a conspiracy theorist and, I don't know, that I just hate Hillary. Let's look at the fact that she panders to the poor. Let's look at the fact that Hillary she accepts super PAC money. She accepts money from the top and from the elite. So, is she working for you while accepting money from them? How is that possible? How is it possible that she is able to work out a deal with these elitists while doing the good for the poverty? I mean, I don't get that. I really don't. That's almost like the Red Army, which if y'all don't know what that is, go look up the Soviets and Russian history. It's almost like the Red Army getting money from the White Army so they can make the Soviets happy and take care of them, when that was not the case. The case here is not that she's pandering to the rich to help the poor. No, she's pandering to the poor to help the rich. If you don't see that, you're blind. She does not walk around with fake pearls around her neck. Her clothes are not cheap. The money she's getting is not coming from contributions from everywhere. It's coming from a select few. I'm not going to give you $20. You're not going to give me $20. Not without a reason, right? Why would I pay you to misrepresent me? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. The smell test does not pass. So, but let's say you can get over that. Let's say she's lying to the super PACs and she really is out to help the poverty. She's out to help the poor people of the world. Well, Let's think back to the 2008 election year when she was over there telling the Hispanics that we need to get the immigrants in this country, that they are the backbone of America, and then turning right around and looking at the white people and saying, they're stealing your jobs, we got to get them out. I'm here to support you. Hillary would tell you anything to get your vote. She is a professional politician. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She is a professional politician. She will pander to anyone. She will do just about anything for a vote. So, if you vote for Hillary, you're an idiot. You're an idiot with a veil over your face. But we do have another Democrat, and that's Bernie Sanders. And I saved him for last because he is the most interesting of them. Obviously Trump is seen as a bully, but he's still following, the general capitalistic rule that has survived for so many years. Capitalism has worked historically. It's still working today. Socialism is the opposite of that. Many people say, well, this is not state socialism, that this is democratic socialism. And I think it's important that we break down these terms. So, state socialism is something where the state owns everything. They own the property, pretty much you live and shit there. And when you die, your stuff gets given over to someone else. That's state socialism. Democratic socialism is something a little bit different. Bernie Sanders is swearing up and down that this isn't going to change our lives, but he is looking to impact or to make a governmental impact upon these private corporations. He's also looking to make a governmental impact upon the private banking. You can go to his website, which I'm going to pull up here. And this is his website from the Senate. His 10 examples of how we can raise revenue and reduce spending in a fair way. Stop corporations from using offshore tax havens to avoid U.S. taxes. Okay, makes sense. Can you stop the ones that are already out there? I don't think so. I don't think you can. I think you can stop new ones, but I don't think you can stop the current ones. It's almost like trying to pull them back in the U.S., and I don't know that you can do that. Establish a Robin Hood tax on Wall Street speculators. In this, he goes into detail saying that he can reduce the deficit by $352 billion. $352 billion over 10 years. By putting a speculation fee of 3 cents on default credit swaps, derivatives, options, futures, and large amounts of stock. So it's another tax. That's what you're telling me, is that it's another tax. We already got to pay taxes on the stock market, and now you're going to tax us further. So, end tax breaks and subsidies for big oil, gas, and coal companies. Well, he says that it's going to reduce the deficit by $113 billion over 10 years. If you take away the subsidies, it's going to raise the cost. So what happens is, if the gas industry, the oil industry is not subsidized by the government, these prices go up. It's supply and demand. We need gas. We need natural gas. We need petroleum gas for our vehicles, diesel. We need methane. We need propane. We need kerosene. We need all these things. They have the supply. We are demanding it. Therefore, the price isn't going to go down. It's going to go up. So I don't buy this one. It's completely debunked in my eyes. Establish a progressive estate tax. So what he's saying is he's going to tax you if you have an inherited wealth of more than $3.5 million. And he believes that he can raise $300 billion over 10 years. So what you're saying is, if your family has an estate of $3.5 million, they broke their back, saved, did what they had to do during their lifetime to get to that level, and they give it to you, there's a tax for that. I don't get it. Another tax because you chose not to spend your money. I disagree with it. Let's go to number 5. tax capital gains and dividends the same as work. Okay, so he claims he could raise $500 billion over the next decade. Repeal all of the 2001 and 2003 Bush tax breaks for the top 2%. Okay, all right, that I can agree with. I do agree with that one. Eliminate the cap on taxable income that goes into the Social Security Trust Fund. All right, so you're telling me that Social Security, which is already a broke system, you want to remove the cap that keeps them from taxing us more. So if somehow in the capitalist world I make so much money that I've maxed out my Social Security, I guess, deposits, that you're just going to keep pulling more from me? I disagree with it. No. No, hell no. Hell to the fuck no. That makes no sense at all. All you're doing is that you're building Social Security up even higher so Congress can pull from it even more when they want to put it into another program. That's what they're doing now. I disagree with that. So if you're doing this, you're only helping a systemic problem. You're not fixing it. You're prolonging the healing process from this injury that we have now. Establish a currency manipulation fee on China and other countries. I really don't know where he's going with this. I think this needs more explanation. I don't really have the clarity to answer this. So yeah, take it for what you will. Reduce unnecessary and wasteful spending at the Pentagon. Okay, so this is important because there's been this big stigma that the Pentagon wastes a lot of money, and they do. They do. The Pentagon gets about $460 billion a year per fiscal year. That's almost as much as what goes into the social programs in the United States. Almost. A lot of that money gets wasted. That I agree with. Absolutely. But how would you reduce it? I can think of a couple ways to reduce it. Let's stop the BRAC, the base realignment and closures. Let's stop it. Let's just stop it now. You have a cinder block building, and then you close down that facility to go build another cinder block building. That is stupid. And that was made to save money. It didn't work. So let's stop that. Already my program's beating his. Wow, this is too easy. So require Medicare to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices with the pharmaceutical industry. I got a better one. Let's shut down this crap universal healthcare system. So that way it gets left up to the capitalistic world. I like this. This is too easy. Now, a lot of y'all are going to use that guy that owned the AIDS drug for a minute there and raise the price to $700-something, $1 million. Whatever the price was. It was like $700 per pill or something. And it's from 13. Fair point. Okay, that went on for about 4 months. And then a company came out with a rival pill that was even less than the original value of that one pill. This is what capitalism does. You see there is a demand there. People have AIDS. This helps with cancer. People have cancer. This helps with other health issues. People have these health issues. The price of this goes up. These people can't afford it. So you, as an entrepreneur, can make a block of money from these people. And that's what happened. Another company made another pill that was even more efficient that this entire block could afford. That is capitalism at its best. So capitalism worked. Even though everyone thought this dude was an asshole, capitalism fixed it. So this pill, which, no one can take it from this company. They got it, so this guy can't, if he wants to buy the rights, that's fine, and he can raise it again, and someone else is going to come out with something else. This is capitalism. If you believe in science and you believe in the, human brain to create something better, then capitalism will always fix it. Now Bernie Sanders says he wants to take from the top, what is it, 1% or whatever, and give, back so you can pay off this national debt. I want to see an actual plan that's going to pay off this national debt. Not push off the debt ceiling, but pay off the national debt. You know what? Let's Google the national debt right now and see what we got. United States national debt. Wow. So it looks like we're roughly at, looks like $19 trillion. A lot of this has come from the past 8 years with Obama. Some of that has come from the Bush administration before him. No president's perfect. I can't blame President Obama for everything. I can only blame him for the $8 trillion that he owes us. How are we going to pay that off? Nothing? All right. So, I do not believe that taken from the top 1%, top 5%, top 10% can take this up, can match this debt and completely do away with it. I don't. Whatever he does can only be guaranteed for 8 years. He can only be in office for 8 years. So all of his programs can only function for 8 years unless Congress approves it and then doesn't repeal it later on. So if he brings socialism into a capitalist world, into a capitalist country, he can do it for 8 years. So in 8 years, he's promising to pay off $19 trillion. I don't buy it. You can completely do away with the DoD spending. It's still a deficit. You can take all the money from the top 1%. It's still a deficit. So where is this magical money coming from? Now, I like Bernie Sanders. I like the fact that he's very political and intelligent on his answers. When people say, "Oh, why aren't you banning guns?" and oh, the poor, school shooting here, poor school shooting there. He doesn't just take the leftist approach and say, "Oh, no, we must ban all guns." No. Bernie Sanders is very smart in that reality. He's very good. He says, hey, you know what? You shouldn't blame the people that sold the guns. They didn't shoot the kids, so why should they be able to be sued? Why are they liable for what happened to someone else? Why are they liable for someone else's actions? That makes sense. That's a damn good politician, and I will give him that. Doesn't mean that he's inherently right when it comes to actually being the next president. I'm sorry, I disagree with it. So, you're free to make your own choice. This is America, whatever, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. This is our Bill of Rights. And I believe in that. I believe in the capitalist world. So, whatever you do, make an informed decision. Obviously, Hillary's not informed. So you really shouldn't mix that. Hillary is the very essence of corruption. And Hillary sits right next to Satan. Hillary is Satan's lover. I can't put it any better way. Hillary is Satan's lover. So, if you love Satan, and you want the destruction of planet Earth, and you hate Captain Planet, vote for Hillary. If you believe in a very conservative view, Trump does not identify with you, and I get that. I get that, I do. But there are a few things that he said that really piques my interest. Tariffs. Tariffs come, for imports coming from China and other countries. We don't tariff shit nowadays. And for y'all who don't know what tariffs are, it's when you import something, we apply a tax to that import. So the government pulls a tax from what's being made. So the overall profits are lost for that company. It makes them a little bit weird to do business here. But China tariffs everything that we send into them. Why should we not tariff what they're sending into us? That makes sense to me. That's fair. That's fair political business, and I get it. Another one of Trump's policies when it comes to immigration is this idea of banning all Muslims. Uh, Look, I'm sorry. There's a very smart guy named Ben Shapiro. Look him up on YouTube. Benshapiro, a Jewish lawyer over in California. He's also a very good debater and a very good speaker. He, like me, does not give a shit about your feelings. He believes in the statistics of it all. You look at the statistics. Statistics don't lie, and based on statistics, an overwhelming majority, over half, of Muslims throughout the world identify with extremism. It does. Um, I believe that there are a lot of good Muslims out there. There's a lot of good Muslims that I've met in the military. I knew a guy named Sergeant First Class Abraham in the military. Great guy. Most peaceful guy I could ever meet. He was just so nice. I don't know if he was lying or telling the truth, but to me, he just seemed like he was so nice. But you read the Quran, Muhammad was not a nice guy. He really wasn't. I think the worst thing Jesus did was throw over this table in a synagogue or something. But Muhammad chopped people's heads off. He said if they don't want to believe in religion, chop their heads off. He charged a tax to people that believe in other religions in their states later on. Muhammad doesn't seem like a very nice guy. I respect you if you believe in their religion. I respect you even more if you're peaceful. You're free to believe in whatever you want. But you can't call Trump a liar for saying that Islam is not that nice. And you can't blame him for feeding into the fear-mongering of what the U.S. population perceives. You look at Brussels, you look at 9/11, you look at what just happened in California. This is no fucking joke. This is serious. This is our country. Terrorism does exist. It's not something that's created by the military engine to keep everyone employed. Terrorism exists. People are evil sometimes. And those people don't give a shit if you have a daughter or a son. They don't give a shit if you're ultimately a nice person. They have their own thing they're pushing. And they don't care if you like it. They don't care what your feelings are. And they sure as fuck don't give a fuck what you identify with. So I'm going to tell you now. You can hate Trump all you want. It's fine. It's fine. I get it. But when you talk about him for what he's actually said. Don't just believe the stupid media. Because the media lies. They get paid to lie. Anyone that makes a profit on reporting the news is going to report what you want to hear. If they think you want to hear something bad about someone, they're going to tell it to you. Up until the point that they're legally liable for slander. And even then, they're going to weigh the odds. How much could they get you for slander as opposed to how much they could profit off of doing the slander, off of telling the lies. So, that's Trump. That's my feelings on Trump. Good luck with it. Bernie Sanders, I'm still waiting on the verdict when it comes to his plan. I think Bernie Sanders is ultimately a very good guy. I think morally, he has a very good view. But so did Lenin and Trotsky. And it didn't work. It did not work. It worked for a little while. But the thing is, to truly implement socialism, you have to implement communism. They happened to Mother Russia. Because socialism is not a plan laid out by Karl Marx. Socialism was an idea. It was a dream. It wasn't a policy that he wrote down. It was a vision that he had, not an actual plan. But people don't know that because they don't read what Karl Marx wrote. The Marxist of the 21st century read what someone else read from someone else that someone else said. They're too stupid to open up the book for themselves and actually give it a shot. In the information age, people are inherently stupid. So please, people, I know you don't like comparing democratic socialism to the Soviets, but there is a link there, and you have to acknowledge that. There is no socialist country whether it be state or democratic socialist country, that is working perfectly right now, or working near to perfect, or working near as good as the capitalism that we have in this country. Prove me different. So, again, these are my views. Just make an informed decision. That's all I ask. If you vote for Hillary, you're a fucking evil twat. I don't like you. Bottom line, I fucking hate you. Hillary's evil. Deserves to fucking not be on this earth. So, again, let me know what you got to say. Please post down in the comments what you have to say. If anyone, please, anyone, has a real roadmap to how Bernie Sanders, is going to kill the national debt, it's going to pull it down. If he's at least going to bring down what the past administration's done, I want to see it. If during his 8-year tenure, he could actually say, hey, look, I made this country $1. We actually made $1 while I was in this administration based on my programs. I want to see it. I really do. Because from everything that I've seen, I can't find a lick of evidence to support it. I'm sorry. I want to see it. I want to try to believe that socialism could work. Because a utopia does sound nice. That Star Trek society sounds kind of nice. Unfortunately, people don't usually conform to that. And they're pretty freaking evil and selfish. So that's why capitalism works. Anyways, James Davis, today's the 12th of May. Y'all have a good one. Good luck.